Hey, Amber.
Well, Jen, I'm trying not to laugh.
Here we go.
I know. I'm trying not to laugh. Okay, so hello, Morley Gray babes. It is Jen and I. We are going to be diving into The Dirty Devil by Melissa Ivers, which is a interconnected standalone in her series Nashville Devils. So, some things to know about this one: a single mom, reformed playboy, brother's best friend, pretty peen, fake relationship, a romance writer, and hockey romance. And I don't think I ever would have thought I would say pretty peen like on a podcast. But here we are. Welcome.
Here we Welcome to Morally Gray Babes. We're your hosts, Jen and Amber, two unapologetic book addicts diving deep into the steamiest dreams, hottest book boyfriends, and those spicy moments that make you blush.
Amber here. And we're not just here to talk plot twists and character arcs. We're breaking down everything from our favorite quotes to the spice levels that really bring the heat.
Expect a lot of laughs, a little cussing, and some seriously hot takes. Whether we're gushing over fictional men or dishing out the truth on what books deserve the hype, nothing is off limits.
So buckle up, Buttercup, and get ready for real, raw, and totally unfiltered book talk. Because we're the book besties you didn't know you needed. So for me, this is like a fake dating a devilishly charming British hockey player. Yes, please. Dirty Devil by Melissa Ivers is a sizzling sports romance with all the tension and spice you crave. Foster Craig, yes, he does have two first names, is the reformed playboy you can't help but fall for, navigating a fake relationship that feels all too real. It's packed with witty banter, off the charts chemistry, and a hockey rink full of drama. This book is perfect for readers who love their romances bold, playful, and just a little bit dangerous because when Foster's on the ice or off, rules are made to be broken. So, yum. I'm going to say that I stumbled upon this book because of the author, Melissa Ivers' reel on Instagram. That is what got me. There was one specific scene, and I remember screenshotting it and sending it to Jen and saying, "This book's next." Like, that's all I
And Jen did not argue.
no, there was no arguing at all. So I'm gonna set the scene. They are at the hockey game. It's her first hockey game to Avery to go watch Foster play. They're now in this fake dating little romance. And she's sitting with other hockey players, girlfriends, wives, fiancés, and they have the kiss cam that came up, and they have it faced on her and this random bloke that is sitting next to her with a bunch of his friends. And he's like this squirrely little guy that's sitting next to her trying to get her to do it, and she's, like, ignoring the F out of him, like, "Please do not touch me." Meanwhile, Foster is on the ice warming up, and he sees this, and he makes, like, a mad dash to her and starts banging his hockey stick on the glass, and then he looks at the guy and says, "You lay a finger on her." I point to Avery, glancing in her direction for a single second. She looks just as shocked as this guy. "Join the club, darling. Join the bloody club." I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know this fucker will not be putting his hands on her or his lips. Not if I can help it. And I will come through this glass and destroy you. Is that clear? Mm,
So
yes,
good.
please.
And by the way, he makes a beat, so obsession is big, and I'm loving it. He comes beelines for the glass. If you have gone to a hockey game, you know that they've got all the glass that's in front of the people so they don't get hit with the puck. And he's banging his stick on that window to get not just this guy's attention, but he gets like everyone's attention. So that's the kiss cam scene. It's one of my favorite scenes.
And it's right in the book, and it was the reel that got us starting on this author's book, and I never heard about her before, so I'm glad it caught my eye. I'm glad that she posted it, glad that she shared it probably multiple times for it to come across our feed, but I absolutely love this woman's style of writing.
This book, I actually was laughing out loud so much, like out loud belly laughing, that my husband kept like looking and he goes, "What's so funny?" And then I read it to him, and then he would laugh. And then we would go on reading again, and then I'd start laughing out loud. Pretty soon I was just like reading the whole book to him. It was the sarcasm, which is a favorite of mine, was in full force.
Yes. So before we to dive further into what we loved, because I think I got off topic, do you want to share the dedication? Because I know this was your
Oh,
favorite
yes.
because I got a voice memo from Jen quoting this.
This is one of my favorite dedications. I think I only have like 3, but this is my favorite one. To all my girlies out there that are living in their hockey romance era that want a sexy as fuck British hockey player with a dirty mouth and a hell of a lot of piercings in his fat fucking cock. And don't worry, he knows how to use it. I was like, "Ah!"
It's like, okay, we crossed that level now where we say the FFC word to our
It's
it was a
good.
very great. So right off the bat, whenever you start reading this book, it's about this single mom and she's going to a Halloween party. She's dressed as Cinderella and he gets a costume that he must have ordered whenever he was drunk or a friend ordered
No, her
her brother
brother
ordered it.
ordered it.
They were making comments about what he should order when they were very liquored up, and I actually had to Google the the outfit to see exactly what it was. So now that's on my browser history, but, like, automatically, it was hilarious banter, it was the humor in the internal dialogue that each point of view had was really good for me. I love that. I like it when people are snarky whenever they're thinking in their brain because I'm very snarky when I think to myself. So, I love that. I love that it was a dual point of view. We just came off a book where it was single point of view, and I
Ugh.
felt I just wanted to rip my eyeballs out. So I found it very refreshing, and I don't know if you felt like this, Jim, but we have been reading books. We read 2 to 3 books a week, and the last 2 or 3 books, it felt like we were heading into a
Like
slump,
work.
and I was very concerned, and like I was so grateful that we found this book and that we read it because it definitely got me out of my book slump. So it's like one of those books that's just really funny. It's a good storyline. There's not really any plot holes. The puns that are in the book, like from all the side characters, it was well written. It was what I needed.
I also feel like we have read some dark things that didn't turn out like we had thought they were gonna be, let's put it that way. Um, and a well-known book too, which we might have to talk about at some point. I think that we do better having these quick rom-com-y type books in between some of the darker books. It kinda, like, helps us to, like, reset almost. I I loved that this was, for kind of a forbidden love situation because this is her brother's hockey co-hockey player, like, he plays on his team.
Teammate would be a good
Teammate, thank you. And this writer, like, I read this in almost a day. It was really
Yeah.
it was really an easy read. I like, oftentimes with books, I'll have to, like, reread something because maybe the way that it was said by the author or maybe I'm tired, I just didn't quite get it. I felt like we had a bunch of those books back to back a little bit,
Mhm.
and this book was like, "Woohoo, we're free. We get to read and have fun again," kind of.
Yes, I agree. I read this within a day as well. We started that morning. I finished it up. Um, well, we were finishing up at the same time, which was great because
Yeah.
that was kind of fun to just send each other gifs of like certain scenes that were either getting spicy or that we were like, dude, this is stupid. So that was kind of fun to go through. One thing I love, I don't know why, it's such an idiotic thing to like in a book, and I like it. So maybe somebody but
You're all there you
yeah,
go.
I love it when there's texting in books. So
Okay.
it's like it's another plus for my book bingo card. Like, I love it when there's texting back and forth.
When we're going over the scenes and quotes, I have a specific one that is the texting. For me, it kind of connects a book with real life. You know, having conversations over text with your friends, it really does it just, like, brings it home. I will also say too, I really loved the other characters in there.
Yes.
They were so good. Her neighbor, who we found out literally at the end of the book is 60. We were talking about her age, wondering what her age was. This woman wears sweatshirts that I, like, love.
Honey,
So, like, one of the sweatshirts she wore that says, "I'm too old for this sheet," and it was around Halloween.
was a
"I'm too
goat.
old for this
It was a
sheet."
goat.
Yes, it was a ghost, and, I mean, she had one for Christmas, deck the hall like, she just
Grab your
she was
joy, and it was 2 gloves on for the boobs. Like,
over the moon. So, like yeah,
I got a
it
Zen
was
boner.
yes!
Oh, the
Yes!
punny
When we
the punny sweaters had me chuckling hard because I could feel it.
yeah.
I'm actually wearing a punny t-shirt right now that says wait, "Don't want none unless you got Bunsen," and it's a Bunsen burner.
Your math
My
your
science
mathlete
my science nerd is going out. But I loved the punny sweaters. I loved Gloria and her freaking dirty mouth, but
her first of all, let me just say, her love for this UPS man that
pizza
has a
pizza
big
man.
package
Yeah,
huh?
pizza man.
Excuse me, pizza man. Like, I don't think he's gonna be delivering to her anymore.
Sure. Um, the other thing that I like, and we should create a book bingo card because that would be
Wouldn't that be fun? We can totally create that. If you guys want that, let us know.
I was
Comment. We probably will have it by the time you hear this podcast.
another thing that I like is whenever there's a book club in here. So the female main character is also an aspiring romance writer. And so she finds this bookstore that's near her. It's got a cute, punny name. They have a book club called the Meet Cute, which I thought was freaking ridiculously amazing. And then
Perfect.
so it's like book bingo, store club, book bingo, book club, right? Bookstore, book club. And then they had where the book club was actually giving titles of books to read. And I was like, copy and paste, try to find it later
Copy
on
paste.
Goodreads or Amazon. Like, we need to figure out, I was like, Jen, these are going to be on our TBR because
Yes.
I mean, that's how we found,
We do that a lot, by the
yeah,
way.
we do that a lot. That's how we found the alien romance book. Um,
Yes.
So, I love that. I love when they do those things. So, that's just me.
Yeah, and I find I didn't know really till this book, but I need a book that makes me laugh out loud often. I love the dark romance ones, and we're reading a great one right now that's a mafia, but I like these. These kind of get me I don't know, they get me through the
They give
day.
me that, like your Hallmark feels, right? They're not so cutesy, like, they're spicy and they're
This was a low spice though. We'll
yeah.
we'll we'll
It's
talk
like
about that in a second. Let
it's spicy, but it's got that witty banter. I like the witty banter and the snarkiness. Let's
yes.
so, yes, what?
Also, too, I really you felt that the female character and the male character liked each other from second 1,
Yes.
and it wasn't till the end of the book that he got his head out of his ass. So, like, I feel like
Yes.
it was done but let's be honest, though, because we've had books where we didn't like that. The way that this author writes, she is my author. Like, she's the author that I wanna read all of her books. The writing is incredibly good, and it didn't make me feel, like, frustrated, right? Because you can often get frustrated when they put so many roadblocks in between in a relationship.
Yeah, I think with the storyline, you could see the obstacles that were gonna be coming, right? The ones because there's gonna be a baby daddy, right, that makes, his
Mhm.
appearance. Both of them have issues from their childhood that they had to overcome. So,
Yes.
like, you could see the obstacles coming. I think some stories that we have read, the obstacles were drawn out so much, and there was just so much internal dialogue that you just wanted to slap the main the main characters in the face. This one, it touched on it. You knew it was there. You knew it was coming, but it was done in a way that you weren't it wasn't dragged out.
And I love that all the side characters were supportive. I mean, obviously, her brother was not very supportive in the beginning, as you can imagine. But really, the couples came together and were really for them, which I think I liked a lot.
So the brother wasn't supportive, but he wasn't hindering them. Like he was like, "Wrong
No,
choice, you have
exactly
to make your
correct.
choice." So I wouldn't say he wasn't supportive. He was supportive of whatever decision she chose.
Whatever would make her
Yep.
happy, he said, which is brilliant.
So
Let's talk about nicknames.
there was only one.
No, there was
What was the
two.
second?
Baby Remy.
Oh, baby Remy. Yes.
So her last name is Remington, and he has her in his phone as Baby Remy. And then there's a point where she sees that somehow and says, like, seems like she kind of liked it.
The thing so her he calls her princess, which I thought was cute because when he shows up to save her to rescue her from a vehicular, I don't know,
Issue.
issue. Yes, thank you. She's dressed as Cinderella, so it was cute that it was named Princess. One thing that I did like with nicknames, since we're talking, is I love the nicknames that she gave her brothers, like Sunshine and Grumpy. I
That's the
I thought that was
oh
adorable, and, like, seeing their dynamic and, like, you see the other couples, they're there, right? This is, like, book 4 out of 5 in the series, like we said.
yeah. And it was wait, by the way, it was totally okay
Yep,
that it was book 4 in the series. This is the only book
that we
that I have read that is a true standalone without the
yeah,
series.
so
Like, it makes me wanna read
it's
them.
a that and that's what I was gonna say. It's an interconnected standalone, which you can read just this story, but you could see the other couples, right? You see the brother and his girlfriend, Lucy, and then you could see one of the owners of the hockey team, and she's dating one of the players. And so you can see that would be like book 1. You could see like book 2, book 3, and it got me interested, like, oh, what's book 5? Like, this is a series that I think we're gonna have to go back and read all of them to see because I liked the dynamics of the side characters, which I know had their own stories. The other thing I wanted to
Mhm.
say about that was I thought it was really well done. I like the stories. The only thing that I would say kinda irked me, well, there was one that just got me out of my head for a second, and I don't like it when stories do that, when it takes me out of the story, and it was just like,
Yes.
I didn't know.
Where you read pages back
Yeah.
to see what you
It
missed?
was just like
Yeah.
one, it was like she goes to this party and all these people that normally are babysitting her baby are there, and I was like, "Oh my god, who's watching the baby?" Like, it just got me out of my head for, like, a split second, and I was like, "Amber, it doesn't matter, come back to us." But it's when she tells him, like, she's had this crush on him for a while, right? Like, months, like, months,
And
a
she
year.
was actually younger, I thought, like, long years.
No, she said it was only a year in the book.
Oh,
And so she was like, had this crush on him for about a year. It was like 5 months. She was 5 months pregnant when the crush started.
okay,
And
yes.
then see, look at me remembering details. This is good.
Well, I have a quote about
Oh,
that, so
so
I'm kind of excited, yeah.
and so she's telling him like it's at the end of the book and they go through all this shit together and then she's like he like proclaims how much he loves her and she's like, I have loved you for months. And then it just kind of like falls flat. It's just like it
And he's like, has to go or something, like, go in the next room or something. He completely ignored it. Oh, got in the shower. He got in the
yeah,
shower.
it was just like I don't know if I told my husband Like, my hubster, like, "Oh my god, I've loved you for months." Like, while we were dating, "I've loved you for months." Like, he better do some
They're
shit, okay?
just
Like, he needs to, like, acknowledge that vulnerability. He needs to acknowledge that, like, confession, like, something. Like, I don't know, thank you would be, like, the bare minimum. But, like, to just leave this scene, I was like, "No."
he was very much in his head about a lot, and I felt like he could have talked to her more about it. Communication, for sure.
Anyway, that was the only thing that irked me, but other than that,
Yeah.
what about you? How do you feel?
I would love to talk about so what I love about this author is she mentions something, specifically her crush, and she boxes it up, right? Mentally or whatever. But she takes that through the whole book. So this is one scene where she talks about that. And she says, remember what I said about the crush being boxed, taped shut, and lost in an attic somewhere? It is not happy being boxed up. Not at all. That thing has a mind of its own and it's trying to fight its way out. It's a beast, but I'm stronger. I'll sit on that metaphorical box if I have to. It's not getting out. And but she has
Dude,
little sayings about that throughout the book.
and there was one scene, so she has this crush, right? This crush in the box because she knows it's a taboo relationship. She knows it's a relationship that, she should not have because 1, she's, like, telling herself she's off of hockey players now. They're, like, forbidden for her because her ex is a hockey player. But she also knows it's her brother's best friend and teammate. And she's like, this is so taboo. I need to, like, no, can't have it. And so I don't have this quote written down. So I'm just going to paraphrase. But one that got me was whenever she mentions this crush in a box. And she's like, it just like busted out, storming through. It's like the Kool-Aid man going through the wall. It's like in my mind, I could see that. Like, I feel like we all kinda aged ourselves. Like, if you say that to, like, a 20-year-old or maybe younger, they're gonna be like, "What the hell is that?"
I had that one as well in my, analog or whatever it's called where you can annotation. I had that in my annotation too. I love when an author writes so that your brain pictures it. Do you know what I mean? And every single thing she wrote, you could picture. I really love that. One of the things, couple things. She so she's a new mom, right? Part of putting that crush in the box, not just because it was taboo, but because she had a baby and she's like, trying to like be a good mom and everything. Well, so when Foster comes unannounced to her door, this is one of the first times that he comes to her apartment. And Avery says, I'm still sporting the hot mess motif. I've got my hair up in a messy bun. My leggings have black and orange stripes because, well, Halloween. And I'm wearing an oversized faded purple sweatshirt that might have ketchup stains on the left boob. Like, that is
Like,
so mom specific that I busted out laughing. I sent it to my daughter who has my 2 grandkids, and it's just I love that.
this
I love
scene
that,
the scene where she's holding the baby and it's like the baby's not feeling well and, like, just vomits took me back to whenever that happened to me, and I remember I was holding my daughter and it was my first day home alone with my newborns and because like we were in the NICU for a while, and the hubby, when we got them both home, he stayed for a couple of days and then he had to go to work, obviously, right? Somebody had to. So he went to work and he left me. It was like 5 in the morning, and my daughter woke up and she wasn't feeling well. And I was like, freak out, mom panic, right? I'm all by myself with twins. We just got in from the NICU. Like, oh my God, I'm gonna like F something up. And
yeah.
I remember I was holding her and she just like let out this burp and she just like vomited all down my shirt. I don't even know how they get it in the shirt. And like it went down the back of my
In your
oh,
ear, you find that shit
and I just
everywhere.
remember
Ugh.
holding her out and looking at her thinking like, "Okay, what's the next step? Like, how can I not make her dirty? And, like, how can I not make the area more dirt like, and at that moment, my husband walked in the door, and he was like, "They don't need me today." And I just remember crying, and so that scene in the book, like, just crying with
Yes.
relief, like, can you just
And how embarrassing to layer onto that
oh my
embarrassment
gosh.
and the feeling of being thrown up on, but you have your person
Who's
who's
your
sort of your lover at that point, but you're not, like, together. It's, like, even
oh.
worse.
It just took me back to that
Yeah.
moment, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, girl, I've been there." Like, that's rough. I know there's so many scenes that we love in this book, right? Because especially because she's, like, a romance author, one like, trying to be, and she's, like he reads her book, right? And they discuss sex scenes and or sex positions. He reads her spicy scenes and wants to act them out. Like, there were so many things that I loved about it, but to limit this podcast episode, how about we just share, like, 2 each of our favorite quotes?
Okay.
Is that a good
You go
oh,
first because I have to
so we
narrow
already
it down.
shared the one where they're like, the kiss cam, which I thought was really nice. I think there's 2 oh my god, there's 3, but I said 2, so here we go. I'm gonna just hope and pray that you choose my other 2 I wanna read. Fingers crossed. But he says, "My sweet Avery, the first time I fuck you won't be against a door. It's going to be in a bed where I can lay you out like a feast and ravish you. I want to worship you all night. I want to know what makes you moan, whimper, and come. I want to explore every dip, every curve, until I have every details of your perfect body mesmerized." And I was like, so you have to remember this is a girl who has a crush on this like Greek god statue. Well, he's a British hockey player. And she is a single new mom who feels very frumpy and more curvaceous than she normally is, right? And she doesn't have like the designer dresses or the fake tan or the bleach hair that he is normally seen on her like, on his arm, and to have that kind of, like, devotion, like,
Mm.
instead when you're feeling your most vulnerable, I was like, yes, please, Foster, keep
No.
talking."
Yeah, we love a dirty mouth around here.
Yeah.
We just do. Um, okay, so this one is she was talking about Gloria, her neighbor and babysitter, was giving her advice for going out. This was as she was going out. And she says, just like her advice tonight, expect the unexpected. Well, that, and it wasn't going to lick itself while gesturing to my lady garden.
I had that one. Yeah,
Lady garden!
well, whenever she says it's not gonna lick yourself, I was like, "Oh my gosh." I think that's when I texted you, like, "How old is Gloria?" Like, to have this woman
She was married like 5 or 6 times, so I think she knows.
5 men, 6 times, like, it was just so crazy, and still crushing on
Was that one of them? Was that one of yours?
no, but it was
Okay.
okay, so I have 3, Rush I feel like it's like Russian roulette, you have to choose one of the ones I have, but my last one is at the very end, and so the reason why I like this quote is because when they do get together and have, like, their, like, romantic moment, he she says, "Fuck me, Foster." Fuck me like you hate me, right? And he's just like, "Oh god." Like, I don't know what to say, but he's like, "Okay, throw caution to the wind," and he just goes at it. But what I loved about this was it's at the very end and she says, "Fuck me, Foster." And he's like I hate you?" I smirk, pulling back and thrusting forward. Avery's head falls back on a moan. "No, fuck me like you love me."
Oh, I know. This is what I'm saying about this author. She takes something and she weaves it through the rest of the story. So she said that in the beginning,
Mhm.
and then this was the end. It was so good.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, drum roll for the last one. Hopefully, it's one of mine.
I have 18 different
I
ones.
know.
This is
This is
really
what I saw your list, and I saw my list, and I was like, "We're never gonna make it." This podcast is
I
gonna be
know.
quotes.
Okay,
You
so
know what we can do? We will put our favorite quotes on our blog in the show notes. And so that if people want to learn more about the book, if we didn't entice you enough to read it after this episode, you can go there and read some of our favorite quotes.
Yes. All right. So then I'm going to do this one. So he was trying to make her a cake.
Oh,
And I he's trying to make her a cake. Like he's going all out. Let me just put that out there. So he says, "I don't know what I was thinking. I'm not a guy who bakes or plans a surprise birthday dinner. Yet here I am with lasagna that belongs in the bin, garbage, because he's English, and cake that's both in and out of the cake pan. Guess who forgot to use cooking spray? This guy. If you ever see the show Nailed It, which I love, by the way, this cake looks like a replica from one of their contestants, and that is not a good thing." I just loved it because I love Nailed It, and it gave me such a good visual.
I like how yours are all like character development and you're seeing the story, and I'm like, fuck me, Foster.
I usually do all of those, but in this book, because I was
You
laughing so hard, I'm gonna say one more. I'm gonna break our rule.
no,
I'm gonna say one.
fine. Can
One
I
more.
get one more? Go ahead.
Okay. Fuck my life with a rusty pogo stick. Like, I'm sorry, but that is so descriptive and funny. I used it in a sentence this week. So there you go.
Right. Okay, let's see. Mm. Okay, so this is whenever he gives her his jersey to wear to the game, and he sees her in it for the first time, and he looks at her, and he makes, I don't have the whole speech that he gives her. I just have his line and then hers. So he goes, "It makes me think you're mine." And then she responds, "It makes me feel like I am yours." And I was like,
Hmm.
people, I was like, "Get your head out your asses."
I know. It's so
It
good.
was a really well done. So, since we said a lot of quotes, let's talk about spice. Where are you leaning on the spice scale? Remember, Akatar is our one, the book that I didn't even finish because there was so much spice. It's number 5.
Off the charts.
I think with that
Um
book, I got to like chapter 9, and I was like, "There's so much sex, Jen. I can't finish. I think I'm pregnant."
Yes.
I was like,
She talks a lot about her ovaries exploding in the
like, "I
book
can't
too, which
read this
I
one."
absolutely
So it's a
um,
DNF. But this one, sorry. So that's our range. Where are you leaning?
a 2. I was really leaning toward a 1 because I felt like there could be more details within the scenes, but I'm gonna give it a 2.
Yeah. I
Mm,
thought the spice was about a 2 for me. But I loved it so much, and I wanted to give it a
yeah.
3 because I loved it, but it's not. It's a 2 because there wasn't that many. I mean, there was a very nice shower scene. There was some
Mm,
talk about it
mhm.
for her book and
The couch. Yeah, yeah,
couch,
yeah.
and so there was multiple scenes, but
3 to 4, maybe 5, 4,
and so
5.
I know some people whenever they're rating spice, they're like, "Oh, there was, 4 plus scenes, it's like a 4," or, that's how we
Really?
do it. I do it with, like, how it's integrated into the story, right?
And the level of detail.
Oh, yes, true.
On the books that have, like, if we're reading an Omegaverse, that tends to be a higher spice because it is
Very
a
detailed.
lot of detail.
Well, there's a lot of holes being filled, right? So, let's just say what's happening. So this was definitely a 2, and I felt like it was a solid 2. I will say I'm very grateful for the books that we've read so far with the vernacular when it comes to labeling body parts.
Oh, the creativity is on
There's
fire.
there's some people that when they like, I don't want it to be called an apex, right? Or a mound.
No,
A mound? No. So
no,
let's just say that this
no.
author's vernacular was not cringeworthy, right? So it was very good.
Correct,
It was very good. So
correct. And the filthy things he says were good.
he was the good he was so good that I bumped him up and made him our book boyfriend of the day. We're doing a book boyfriend advent calendar because it's December 4th as of the recording of this podcast. And so today, Foster Craig made it as our book boyfriend. So if you want to follow along to figure out the next 20, or I guess it's 19 book boyfriends, we're doing it every day until Christmas. Follow along at Morally Gray Babe on Instagram.
And there's a great giveaway, you guys. So definitely go check it out.
Yes.
What would you rate the book?
Okay. We all know I'm stingy with my fives. I absolutely love
Mhm.
this author's style of writing. I even told that to Jan while we were reading it. Like, I loved it. I quoted some things to her. It even came with a playlist, right? It came with a playlist. It came with a team roster so I could look back to see what
Love the team
so that
roster.
was
That
spice
was really
test.
good.
Mhm. So it's like I had so many good things that I loved about this book, and I would highly recommend it to someone if they're looking for like a witty hockey romance, especially with the tropes that we mentioned earlier. This is a solid 4 for me. Like, I don't know, and the only reason is because like a 5 is like a Roman Empire. I think about that book every single day, and I don't know if
Yeah, it
that's
was a
gonna
4 for me
I
too.
don't know if this is gonna be one of those books that I think about it every day. I don't know. Ask me in a month and I may change my rating, but as of today,
Yeah.
it's a solid 4 and I loved it.
I love laughing in books. I love laughing because of the writing of an author. I didn't realize how much I liked that until we started reading some others kind of back to back, and this was good.
Yeah, so Melissa Evers, I reached out to you today on Instagram, told you how much I loved it, so kudos. Can't wait to read book number 1. And
1, 2, and 3.
yes, to go through the whole series, right? But I was really so I'm not gonna lie about this though. So we were talking about it because there's like a lot of side characters, right? You got the whole team, the coaches, the owners, the general manager, and then you have like the friends' girlfriends, all these people. And I like how I didn't get confused with any of them because sometimes their names are so similar that I get really freaking confused. One book we read recently, they changed the name. Remember they totally it's totally
So irritating.
and it's just like it's just an edit error, but it's I'm like, "Who the fuck is Ruth now?" It was so funny. But
That was not this book,
this is not
FYI.
this book. This book was like I understood who the characters were. I the only thing that I wanted was for book 5 and hopefully maybe she'll do a novella. I'm praying for a novella, okay? Because I was like, "Oh my god, who's book 5?" Right? I want to know, and it's
Gloria
it's gonna be what is it, Gordon, I think? I think that's
Gordon.
yeah, the, one of the team owners, and so it's gonna be his book, and I was like, "Okay, that's fine," and I read the epilogue, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds really good," it's a second chance romance, and I was like, "Okay, fine." I really want Gloria. I want that 60-year-old punny
Oh,
sweater, dirty mouth, best friend.
filthy, filthy mouth.
I want her to dump Paul for some reason. I'm
Yes.
sorry, Paul, you sound like
That was her 4th and 6th husband. Yes.
I he sounds like a great man, but I maybe I don't want anything tragic to happen to him, but yeah, but maybe they just realize it's not the right fit, right? I want her to find someone. I want her to have
Mhm.
her own
Right.
book.
Yeah.
I just do.
It will be dirty, I'm sure.
It'll be dirty and punny, and I feel like that's like just like a really good novella. So Melissa, here or plea. Gloria needs a novella. Let's dump.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you loved hanging out with us today, don't forget to check the show notes for all the juicy details and the links. You can also join our chat where you get exclusive updates, behind the scenes goodies, and we deliver things to you guys first.
And of course, follow us for more spicy reads, hot takes, and unfiltered fun. And until next time, stay morally gray. Bye.